All right, today what we're going to be working on is learning how to evaluate composite functions. Something you're going to want to make sure that you do is you're going to want to make sure you write this information down right here in your journal. We're going to go over through a few problems, and hopefully that'll give you enough information for you to do this successfully. So we have f of a, which is equal to this function, and we have g of b, which is equal to this function. All right. So what it's asking us to find is what is g of f of negative 2. So when you're working through this, what you have to do is you have to work from the inside out. So the very first thing I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to find f of negative 2. All right. So where does that take me to? That takes me up here. So what is f of negative 2 equal to? It's going to equal 3. Open parentheses, but instead of an a, I'm going to plug in a negative 2 plus 2, close the parentheses, minus 10. I'm going to evaluate this first. Well, you can see that we have 3 times negative 2 plus 2, which is 0. And 0 squared is still 0, and 3 times 0 is still 0. So 3 times 0 squared minus 10 is just minus 10. So what was f of negative 2? That ultimately led me. This was my first input, and that led me to my first output of negative 10. Well, now what I have to do is now I have to find g of negative 10. So now I'm using this function. So what is that function? It's 2 over 5 times the value of b, but I'm going to plug in a negative 10. And then at the end of it, I'm going to add a 4. All right. So 5 goes into 10 a total of 2 times. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4, and negative 4 plus 4 leads me to 0. So it looks like my ultimate answer of what is g of f of negative 2, it ends up being 0. So here's the quick little review. I take the negative 2. I plug it into this guy. I work it out. It ends up getting a negative 10. Then I take that negative 10 and I plug it into this guy. I work it out. It ends up becoming a 0. All right. I did it right. Yay me. All right, so now we're going to go over to this one. Scroll up a little bit. All right, so now we have this function. Wow, they really like to let you know that's a cubic function. That's a big 3 in that index. All right, then we have h of y, which is a linear function. And then what are we trying to find? H of g of negative 3 over 2. All right, so here we go. What are we going to start out with? We're going to start out with g of x. So we're going to find g of negative 3 over 2. So here we go. What is g of negative 3 over 2 actually equal to? So I'm not going to make that 3 that big. Put a 3 right there. So we have 2 times negative 3 over 2 minus 5, and then the plus 1 is here on the outside of that radical. All right, so here we go. These 2's are going to cancel each other out, so I'm going to be left with a negative 3 minus a 5 plus a 1. Ooh, I like it. So negative 3 minus 5 is negative 8. But what is the cubic root of a negative 8? Well, hopefully you know that negative 2 times a negative 2 times a negative 2 is negative 8. So ultimately, the cubic root of negative 8 is just negative 2. If you don't believe me, I totally get it. Some people, they just don't believe me. That's okay. But I'm going to go to the cubic root and type in a negative 8, and hopefully you know that means a negative 2. So I have negative 2 plus 1, which is a negative 1. Now that's not my final answer. You're probably, oh, no, hold on, cancel. It's not my final answer. All right. So now what do I got to do with that that -1. I got to take it and plug it in here. So now I have to do h of -1, which is 2 minus open parentheses. This is where students will make a mistake. They'll forget to open up the parentheses, and they'll just do 2 minus 1 and get 1. But 2 minus a -1 becomes 2 plus 1, which becomes a 3. So what is my ultimate answer of what is h of g of -3/2? I'm going to put a 3, and I'll either get it right or I won't. So let's check the work real quick before I type it in. All right. You know what? We could also, if you wanted to have fun, you can check your answers in Desmos if you want to. All right. So you know what? I'm just going to type it in. G of x equals, and then you go over here to the old function bar and you do miscellaneous and you put the cubic root like that. And then let's see here. What else do we got? 2x minus 5. All right. 2x minus 5, and then we put plus 1 like that. And then we put, h of x. I'll put h of x. Even though it says h of y, I'm just going to put h of x because Desmos graphs in terms of x. Equals 2 minus x right here. And so I'm going to put what is h of g of that. So what is h of g of -3 divided by 2. Hey, look at that. It's a good way to check your answer. I wouldn't want my students just to simply do this to get the right answer, because then they really wouldn't be doing the work. They would just be typing things in. But that's a good way, if you did everything by hand, to check your answer. So what is h of g of -3/2? 3. So now I feel pretty confident typing in a 3. And that's what you're doing. Okay? By the way, this is a notation you need to be aware of. So if you ever see f of g of 10, that means, ready? That means f of g of 10 means f of g of 10. So I need you to understand that these signify the same meaning. Okay? So good luck. Hope you have a great day and you get this done. Let's see if I can stop this video. Please. Nope. It's not stopping. Not stopping. Now stop it. All right.